Critics are asking why the Secret Service took nearly 6 weeks to make this move when most law enforcement officials are immediately put on leave or reassigned after a shooting. Joining me now is Keith Wojcieszek. He's a former Secret Service supervisory special agent. Keith, thanks for joining us this afternoon. And I'll put the question to you. Do you think that these suspensions or reassignments have taken too long?
Yeah, thank you, Rich, very much for having me today. I'm actually shocked in a sense because in any investigation, especially if there's law enforcement or shooting involved, you need to protect the integrity of that investigation. And in doing so, removing personnel is key, the personnel that are involved. I was a little shocked it took so long. I'm sure there is a reason behind it. Obviously, I don't have that now, but I think we're looking to find out what that is. But additionally, not only is it the integrity, but it's the perception of how we're looking at this. Right now, the Secret Service is not in good light. We all know that. And with Ron Rowe being the director, who is a magnificent man and in a great position, he can save that perception by immediately doing this investigation. So I was a little shocked that it took this long to actually address the initial concerns.
So since the attempt, we've had 4 agents placed on administrative duty from the Pittsburgh field office. You've got one from the former president's personal detail. And then, of course, shortly after the congressional hearing, the director resigned. Do you think that there's more people that they potentially are focusing on here? Because you do have a gap. You've got the who was once the director, and then you've got the folks down in the field office. But there are a number of layers in between those two, right?
There are, and what surprises me is they limited it to 4. The reason being is the way I see it, right? There's people that conducted the advance, and if it's just even performing that integrity check so that individuals can remember what happened and they're not mixing up different types of campaign stops, different protection sites, where they get confused, because we all know we're humans, we make errors, and in doing so, if you forget and your multiple stop after stop after stop, that integrity of the initial investigation that happened on July 13th is contaminated. So again, I think there's going to be some more administrative leave, which is just, I guess it's to protect them, right? It's not to say these guys are guilty, but it's to protect the investigation, to make sure it's thorough, it's detailed, it's unbiased, because there are multiple phases of an internal investigation like this. So I think you're going to see more of that.
Do you think that this is a systemic problem within the Secret Service, or simply just a major lapse, as you had mentioned in that picture that you painted? Your Secret Service is out all over the place. They've got a number of different candidates, a number of former presidents. Their job is massive. Do you think this was just one oversight, or do you think there's a real problem within the Secret Service?
That's a fantastic question, because is there a problem? Well, I would say no. I would say no, because the Secret Service they're so honorable when it comes to selecting their individuals. And I'm sure you have come across a lot of type A individuals that want to do the best job, and that's what they're there to do. The systemic problem, I think, is brought about on the outside, but I think the Secret Service as a whole does not have this systemic problem. This was definitely an unfortunate accident. I think it was a lot of traveling. You look at the sites that happened that day, it wasn't just Butler. They had other conventions going on. They had other sites, and it was just, unfortunately, a miscalculation of what happened, and it's detrimental for the Secret Service, for sure.
Keith, do you think it's a little too early for the former president to be back rallying outside, or it's good, it's safe to return? And not just the former president, but the Vice President Kamala Harris, and then all the nominees as well.
That's another great question. If it was up to me, I would have them in the White House 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you don't want to make that risk. But obviously, they have to get out in the public. The service's job is not to dictate where the individuals go. It's to make sure that those grounds are safe and secure. And so, is it too early? Is it too late? No. I think the job of the service guys on the ground doing these assessments, I wouldn't say it's too early. It's basically about the job that's done perfectly. And again, like I said, it was once one incident that happened, a horrific incident. But I think the service is learning from this, and they're moving forward for sure.
Oh, we're about to get a lot more rallies. Keith Wojcieszek, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Rich. Have a great day.
You as well.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.